ayes have it.
Hello and welcome to the program. I am Dennis Adigunlui. Thanks for joining us. The Senate Committee on the Review of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 2022 has laid its report before the Senate. The report, presented by the chairman of the committee and Deputy Senate President Ovie Omo-Agege, was witnessed by the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, in company of the Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talon, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, and other top female government officials. Senate President Ahmed Lawan seized the opportunity to reiterate the National Assembly's commitment towards ensuring more participation of women in nation building.
It's been hands-on for the Senate Committee on the Review of the 1999 Constitution. After a series of consultations, engagements and public hearing at both zonal and national centers, the committee, led by the Deputy President of the Senate, who is also chairman of the committee, Ovie Omo-Agege, has concluded works on the draft copy and led it at plenary. First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, in company of Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talon, that of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, and other top female government officials were in the chamber to witness the presentation.
Mr. President, I assume that she is here with the potential 37 new senators that will come into the Senate following the adoption of the want to create an affirmative action for more female parliamentarians in both chambers, in the Senate and the House and the state legislators. This, we believe, will help in nation building, as such significant participation by our women will add value to not only legislation, but the much desired and needed national development.
We are here this afternoon to peacefully observe the proceedings on constitutional review about women, and also to listen to the proceedings also concerning the 35 affirmative action about women and special additional seats for women in the National Assembly.
Yeah, the First Lady has made a name for herself promoting women, the female gender causes, and I think it's just fitting that he showed up. I'm not totally surprised that he showed up, but I think it's to underline the commitment that she has towards such matters that she shows. She needn't have come. She could have reached to use some other platforms to reach out to people, but she showed up on the floor. For me, is to underscore the fact that she takes such issues very, very seriously. I just hope that we'll meet along the way somehow. Members of the National Assembly, senators and House of Reps members may have their individual views, and of course, even with the presence of the First Lady, ultimately each member will vote according to how he or she sees such things. I just hope, personally, I have no issues with increasing representation of women in politics. I mean, that is how it should be. And so we'll meet on that day and see how, because I can't speak for any other person, we'll see how members vote. Well, it's just a commendable gesture. She knows she knows what the National Assembly is there to do. She knows the importance of the exercise at hand, and so she showed up, and I think that will change a mind or two. Those who had different views on the matter may think twice because of the gesture that she did yesterday.
Voting on the amendment bill has been scheduled for the 1st of March 2022. Now, other issues raised during plenary in the week include the uproar caused by the huge rise in airfares and the call for a declaration of emergency on Nigerian roads.
Call on the federal government to immediately make good its indebtedness to FEMA in order to enable the agency carry out its primary responsibility of rehabilitating federal roads.
The passage through second reading of a bill that seeks to establish the National Innovation Agency sponsored by Senator representing Anambra Central, Uche Ekunife, which seeks to provide a legal framework for the facilitation of development, improvement, promotion, coordination and regulation of research outputs in Nigeria.
The framework of this bill is to bring to life a body that shall be federal government agency for coordinating innovation activities as well as grow and support innovation ecosystem and entrepreneurship in Nigeria. It shall exist to promote the development of efficient and innovative Nigerian systems within thematic areas such as technology, ICT software development, nanomedicine, nanotechnology, agriculture, agribusiness.
And the Federal Institute of Fisheries and Aquatic Studies, Cotton Cafe Kogi State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator representing Kogi West, Smart Adeyemi, which also passed second reading.
These salmon fish are imported with our hard-earned currency to Nigeria, which Nigerians are patronizing. These are the things that can be produced when the college like this is in place.
I feel that it is going to enhance the foreign exchange earnings of Nigeria. It is going to create a lot of opportunities in terms of diversification of the economy, and it is going to create a lot of job opportunities.
Adoption of quality research instruments have been advocated by experts as critical to a modern Nigeria. This was at a public hearing on 3 bills before the Senate Committee on Science and Technology.
Scenes of collapsed buildings like this are becoming common sights in Nigeria, prompting advocacy for efficient and effective legislative framework that can empower statutory agencies to address the issues. And that is the thrust of the Nigerian Building and Research Institute Establishment Bill, year 2020, which is being subjected to public scrutiny by the Senate.
These areas are important in the drive towards technological advancement and are in tandem with the zeal of the current administration.
It's also intended to empower the Institute to address the persistent cases of building collapses and road failures, such as the one we recently recorded.
And as long as the quality of material has been improved by research, variously you can discover that building collapse will start decreasing as much as possible.
2 other bills being considered are the National Energy Sustainable Development and the National Research and Innovation Council.
We should not lose depth for spread. What I've seen in this bill is I've seen a lot of spread and I've not seen depth.
The National Energy Bill 2021, which seeks to provide legal framework for the national energy policy, is desirable, but however, it's observed to be based on the 2013 Draft Review National Energy Policy.
When passed into law, it will lead to significant expansion of the energy mix for energy supply.
The takeaway from the hearing is that research should go beyond academic exercise but be applied to solve problems.
Chairman of the Senate Committee on Nigerian Air Force, Bala Ibn Allah, has restated the commitment of the Senate to support the Nigerian military to achieve the mandate of ending insurgency within the shortest possible time as promised by President Muhammadu Buhari. This was during an oversight to the headquarters of the Nigerian Air Force.
The oversight essentially is to assess the utilization of the 2021 supplementary budget approved by the National Assembly to enable security agencies tackle insecurity in some parts of the country. The committee seems to be impressed with the successes recorded by the Nigerian Air Force.
In our determination to do that, we are interested in knowing what we can do to put the process faster than it is. We are not unaware of the challenges you face in the procurement process because most of these things are not on shelves for pickup. They have to follow order, production, and then delivery. But with what I have seen, again, I think I will commend the Air Force for strategic planning of putting most of this equipment in place within the period that I have seen.
Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, acknowledged the support from the National Assembly and pledged to do more with executive and legislative collaboration.
And the NAV has enjoyed 100% appropriation performance in the year 2021, and we appreciate if the same can be replicated in the year 2022. We also request early releases of such appropriation, and we felt the National Assembly should be able to assist us in doing that.
The committee is expected to visit other commands of Nigerian Air Force across the nation for more interactions.
Deputy Senate President Ovie Omo Agege has called on members of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Delta State to hit the ground running in ensuring victory at the forthcoming 2023 general elections. He made the call during the inauguration of the State Executive Committee and State Working Committee of the party in Asaba.
Go back home to your various wards and recruit people, preach the gospel as to why APC must occupy the government house from 2023. Preach the gospel as to why APC must occupy all of the national offices.
I don't have any intention of going to PDP, but I have the full intention of defeating PDP in the election.
Now, since the signing into law of the Petroleum Industry Bill, now the Petroleum Industry Act, the Senate Committee on Petroleum Upstream has hit the ground running with its oversight mandate of agencies responsible for the proper implementation of the provisions of the Act. Here now is Senator Albert Batty, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Petroleum Upstream, to give an assessment of the progress so far.
Well, I think we decided, based on the leadership of the Senate's directive, that we should embark on full oversight to ensure the implementation of the provisions of the PIA as passed and signed into law by Mr. President. Of course, you understand that you are aware that this was actually done about 5 months ago, and there are certain provisions that had a 6-month timeline that action should have been taken by now. So we started off with the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, and where we were able to ensure that most of the regulations, especially the ones that should have guided the host community, is establishment of the host community trust fund. So we've gone very far in that, and that will ensure that before the end of the month that those regulations are actually put in place, as well as also other regulations as enshrined in the law. Then for the NNPC, of course, I must also commend the GMD of NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, for doing a fantastic job for the country, and where the committee was actually very satisfied on the implementation of the PIA as regards NNPC Limited. The board has been inaugurated, the management staff and the executive are in place, and then currently the organization is undergoing serious restructuring in line with the global competitiveness of the oil and gas business. NNPC Limited only started making profit when Mele Kyari came on board. So we believe that most of this should be consolidated as we move on. Then what also interests us is the need for us to ensure that the frontier basin is greatly explored within the shortest possible time. See for ourselves the work that has been done, and also to ascertain what also needs to be done on the part of the National Assembly to ensure its effective exploration in the frontier basin, because this has become a national priority. So generally speaking, as regards the upstream, we are very satisfied as a committee that the implementation of the PIA is receiving much greater attention by the relevant authorities and the agencies of government. So we will not rest in our hours, because we believe that by the time we are done, we should have set the industry on a pedestal of competitiveness across the globe, where Nigeria will then be seen as a desired destination of choice in oil and gas investment globally. So we believe that the PIA is being implemented effectively, and that we also quite appreciate the challenges of the takeover and implementation. So we are working collaboratively with the Presidential Steering Committee, as well as the relevant agencies of government, to ensure that we reduce the various minimum government interferences in the country's oil and gas industry, which was actually basically what the industry actually wanted in the coming up of the PIA. But I must commend all the relevant stakeholders for their understanding, and also we are beginning to see signs of investable inflow into the country. So we are confident that in the next 6 to 7 months, Nigeria will start reaping the benefits of this jinx-breaking petroleum industry. So everything is going on well, to the best of my ability and judgment. Yes.
All right. English, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Senator representing Benue Northwest, Emmanuel Okajiev, gives some personal insight into some issues in the national consciousness.
Like I always say, the Constitution is the most important law that any legislature can embark upon amendment, because it's already there. Because in the course of the practice of this republic, we've discovered a lot of lapses that needed to be tinkered with in order to make for a better society. And so every assembly comes and tries to amend depending on the issues that have been thrown up as a result of practicing our democracy and our society generally. And sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail. I give an example of during Jonathan's regime, when a lot of issues were bundled together, and ultimately President Jonathan took issues with some of the items for amendment and agreed with some, but because all of them were bundled together as a bill, the thing was rejected totally. We learned our lessons as a National Assembly, and subsequently what we do is each bill comes as a standalone, so that if we have 20 items, for instance, they come as 20 bills. If the president agrees with one, he will sign it. If he disagrees and he has his own reasons why he's disagreeing, they may fall. Well, not the experience of Jonathan. So that is what is going to happen now. The National Assembly is taking that very, very seriously. And as we speak, we are expecting in a few days' time the National Assembly of both chambers will be called upon to vote on the items that have been brought up for amendment of the Constitution. So a critically important aspect of our work. Any person that comes to the National Assembly without having the privilege to work on the amendment of the Constitution, I think he's missing a lot. Because for me, maybe it's because I'm a lawyer, I'm really excited as I look forward to that event.
All right. In the last few days, we've seen some high-profile cases of officials high up in the echelons of society being brought down with corruption cases. Abakari, DCP Abakari, and also former Minister of Women, Water Resources, Sarah Chekwe. Just give us some of your comments on the anti-corruption crusade of governments and the progress.
Well, yeah, thank you. In the case of Sarah Chekwe, she has already been convicted and sentenced, and it's unfortunate because when you have such things, it impacts negatively on the image of the country, not just of any particular government or the, because we as a people are tainted by such occurrences. As for Abakari, I just wish that a lot of work is done, and because the impression that a lot of Nigerians have is that sometimes you hear a lot of fanfare, but at the end of the day, not much happens. We've had cases of people who, up to now, Dasuki is still in detention, I believe. So you have a lot of people. There's a lot of noise made. Sometimes the FCC will say, "Oh, this one has stolen billions and all of that," and then that goes to the cooler. So I think in order to convince Nigerians that the seriousness in this thing, it should be done. The Americans, understand, gave their own report, the report of their investigations to the police authorities here. And Nigerians are wondering what exactly is going on. And then this issue came. It taints not just the police, it taints Nigeria as a people. When you go out there, they don't want to know whether you have made a name for yourself through hard work. Once you are Nigerians, the first thing the outside world will think about you, oh, here comes a corrupt person. I still refresh my mind with the comments of the former British Prime Minister when they said Nigerians were fantastically corrupt. That it went viral. So it's not good for our image. So in order to give the impression to the outside world that we don't condone such things, nobody should be shielded. Abakari should be thoroughly investigated, and the matter should be pursued to its logical conclusion. Only then will the outside world and even the average Nigerians will be convinced that the more you see, the less you understand.
Sure. All right. Lastly, 2023 seems like it's still some way away, but it is quite close. What's your general advice to Nigerians and the elite ahead of the polls next year?
Of course, this is the election season. Now you expect all sorts of things to come up. Zoning and not zoning, parties will bash themselves and bash others too. But I expect people should know that as we practice our democracy, we are working towards perfection. There's no perfection in human affairs, but we are working towards a better union. People should realize that personal ambitions should not stand in the way of national development, because oftentimes we politicians forget, we behave as if it's election season comes and then we start preparing for the next election season. This is critically important because it has to do with the development of our polity. And if we realize that, then there will be less complaints from people about the way we do things here. My take is that a lot of people are yet to realize that is why you have politics, that is why we go into politics, to put up people, to throw up people that will lead us and govern us well. It's not just about a game where you win by all means, and then you start preparing to win by all means in the next 4 years. That's my take.
All right, distinguished. Thank you very much once again.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, that concludes Senate 109 for this week. Thanks as always for your time. I am Dennis Adigunloye. See you next week.